Alrighty, I have a construction update for you guys today. So I do have some exciting news to share with you really soon about AlpenFury and this channel. I should have an answer either tomorrow, Friday, or early next week. I'm really excited about this because you guys are going to love it. But outside of that, as you can tell, they are hard at work getting that the only launch inside the mountain ready to get installed. So some supports have headed inside that mountain, and I assume are getting installed if they're taking up space in that mountain. I'm assuming they're getting put into place and not just sitting inside the mountain. But yes, they've started that. A lot of support structure for the transfer track and storage shed has arrived right over there, as well as catwalks for AlpenFury in the station and first booster launch area. Ignore that. I'm just trying to figure out what those two things are, and they're just attachments. Outside of that, nothing too exciting in terms of shipments. There hasn't been much action in terms of visible vertical construction, just a lot of prep work while they work on a new group of footings. So there are a group of footings that have not been completed for AlpenFury, and you'll see them in a second. But outside of that, there have been no new track pieces installed on AlpenFury. And I'm going to explain why in a second. It'll be very visible why in a second as well. But also, there's a lot of work going on inside the mountain. So they are a lot farther along inside the mountain than we have previously thought. They have done just the remaining last footings for that double inverting top hat. I almost called it a non-inverting top hat. The double inverting top hat. Those footings were dug, and I don't know if they're poured. I would assume they were because they lifted that giant silver caisson, if you remember, into those holes and put them down. But I don't know if it was too cold, but it is a covered place and they could easily warm them up like they do in winter construction on a lot of projects. So I'm assuming that all the footings inside the mountain are mostly done. I can't give you an accurate answer to that. But over here in the station area, there is a lot of plumbing and electrical and drainage work that has occurred. Later on in the video, I'll insert a little... Actually, I'll just talk about it right now. So Jake made this a beautiful rendering for you to show you some new things going on in the station area. So as you can see right there, the top red arrows are structural footings. I'm assuming this is for some exit or extended part of AlpenFury's station structure. Usually something like that, it's probably going to be a pathway coming out from the station and then heading around. But it is too early to tell what those could possibly be for, but they're structural. Then we have the kind of blue turquoise arrows. That is plumbing, drainage. And then we have the black arrows, and that is electrical for the station and the AlpenFury kind of building, entrance, station area. And then we have the launch PLC electrical in that like golden yellow. So that is the launch / PLC electrical, and that is there. There are obviously others, but I just wanted to point out the color differences and what to look for when you're looking at these videos and these images, what these colored tubes indicate. So this is just a rough idea. Obviously, there could be a few incorrect things about this, but this is typically what they would be like if we're looking at a photo or a construction of a roller coaster or even any building out there. So with that said, let's go back into the construction of AlpenFury. So over here, they put in some kind of like gravel sand to level out the area. So the footings are all done leading into the mountain, and you're going to get a really cool angle because the tarp was blown up. And I flew my drone over beside the hospital. So you're going to see a little bit inside the mountain, which you can tell the footings have been done for quite some time. But outside of that, again, not much work going on in the AlpenFest area. But I'm waiting to see some spray paint and some signs of some possible stuff occurring. But again, the buildings are there. I have a feeling they're just going to do a facelift to a lot of the buildings. There's not really much potential to build any new buildings there, but I'd love to see what they can do with some new structural facades to some of these buildings. But outside of that, again, just to repeat, there has been no new support work other than a few supports right here, right there, that have been installed. So essentially, like most of AlpenFury, I said AlpenFury supports have been installed outside of this area right here. So I'm going to pause the video to talk about this. All right, so that little orange circle there is a group of footings that are currently being worked on and are going to be poured any day now. That will house a very complex group of footings and caissons for AlpenFury. So whenever you have that many footings in a close grouping, what a lot of us don't see on roller coasters above ground, we still see those individual little circles, but underneath, like we see in the Skyflyer plot of land, is there's a complex kind of like square rectangular structure of concrete that connects a lot of these footings for better support, since there's so many footings and a lot of force being transferred to the ground around the footings in this area. So that's like the dumb way of kind of describing it to myself and everyone listening right now, for those of us that don't understand construction that well. So you won't see this above ground. This is kind of like what they build underneath, and then they'll kind of fill it in with dirt over, and then you'll see like the little round supports. In some cases, you could see this type of caisson / footing structure on coasters exposed above ground, but in most cases they'll bury it, and you'll just see those little individual round footings / caissons. Anyways, I just wanted to describe that for you guys. So that is what they're currently working on right now. So as you can see there, you can see those four little like circle rebar cages coming up. That'll be some of the more above ground footings that you'll see, and you'll see a few more as well on the other side, the very other side of that service road. Outside of that, they've brought in some supports about 3 days ago, and they haven't done anything with them. I have a feeling that they're being held up by that footing network, and those supports are for that. There is also that threaded rod just sitting there. I don't know what that's for. If that's just extra, that would be really weird if it was extra, because that's a pretty costly part for the coaster. But yeah, outside of that, as you can see, here's another angle to show you a lot of that electrical that this coaster is using. As you can see right there on the screen, you can see some more structural rebar sticking out through the snow there that hasn't been used yet for some of the support structure for the structural aspects of the theming pieces or station building for AlpenFury. So there's a lot of those all over. I might, in my next video, just kind of showcase those. I'll get a really still photo of this entire area and show you where the structural footings are. As you can see here are those footings heading on inside the mountain. And just off to the right over there is where, again, that storage and transfer track will be stationed on the ride layout. Outside of that, again, you can see some of those electrical components, conduit that connects to more conduit that is weatherproof to protect the electrical components of the ride. And then there's more heading down that support column down into that underground little storage unit where a lot of the power for the ride is going to be located, that then connects to the main park's power grid. Again, another really dumb way of explaining it to those of us that don't have a really good understanding of how all this works. So they've started burying a lot of this, which means they are pretty far along in terms of the electrical and plumbing / drainage for AlpenFury. So definitely a lot more progress. Again, this coaster is being built in a way that we're not typically used to. Usually we see the coaster get built and then they work on these electrical plumbing components of the ride. But they're kind of working on everything all at once. So for a lot of us, yes, compared to other rides out there, this is pretty far behind. And yes, vertical construction has come to a halt. But again, you're going to see it really progress and pick up again once they're done a lot of these really complex footings that they've left to the end to do. So again, they are nearing completion of all the footings inside the mountain, if not already complete all the footings inside the mountain. And now they're working on the footings of that really complex section group of footings just over by the service road. for AlpenFury. Outside of that, a lot of the supports, again, like I just said, are done, but they still have a few more supports to do after the Extreme Skyflyer element that then heads back towards. So you can see all those little empty little footings there. That's for the return after the Extreme Skyflyer loop. So yeah, it's exciting. They have been hard at work. Again, they're working inside the mountain with vertical construction, and they're building the launch electrical LSM fins on the launch that you saw at the beginning of the video for AlpenFury. So I'm positive that there'll be a lot more to discuss in terms of vertical construction in next week's video. I wanted to go really in depth because there wasn't a lot done this week, so it gave me an opportunity to really describe the construction site for you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed that. But why don't we talk about Mindbuster, since not a lot is going on over there as well. So I'm just going to throw it in with this video. But Mindbuster is slowly progressing with its construction as well. You're going to see some bracing, some metal bracing, steel bracing of Mindbuster, as well as the ride's definitely going to be, they're aiming to have it be a lot more structurally sound. So that's exciting, but haven't seen much progression that's visible to the naked eye where you could go, oh, wow, they did a lot of work this week. But again, with construction projects, it's really hard to tell for people like you and I if a lot of work's been done or not. So it doesn't look like it is, but there has been. So as you can see, the pull-up into the turnaround, they've definitely shaped it to be a lot more smooth and gradual than it used to be. So that's going to be really cool and help with the pacing as well. Anyways, hope you enjoyed today's construction update. Stay tuned for some exciting news on construction updates with AlpenFury. And yeah, have a good one, guys. Bye.